it's holiday for many of you and in so many countries. I should have improved my knowledge around this region, especially all your festivals and celebrations, etc. So hi everyone again. Welcome to the Springboard Amplifier Session 2. So today we're going to talk about how to create a compelling incubator training curriculum and how to kind of create a meaningful engagement, especially when you are running a program virtually. So hi everyone again, this is Rochelle and Melanie. Hi, yes.
Hello.
So hello. So as usual, let's start with a quick icebreaker. So since today we are talking about curriculum building, so why don't you share with us your favorite icebreaker? I mean, icebreaker is also a very important part for curriculum design. So for me, I think my favorite icebreaker is tell us where you're from without telling us where you are from. So I like this one because I get to know who's in the room, and also I get to know so many interesting things, ranging from fruit to some tourist spot, and also it's been so long since I traveled last time. So I really want to meet people from different places. Yes, so we got one answer from Cynthia. She said, caption the GIF by Jay. Yes, I really like that one. So basically that was, asking people, the host can share some GIF, like very cute memes, etc. So and also ask people to caption, like, what do you think the memes is talking about? So maybe next time we can try that one. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Is there anyone who wants to share? Yeah, I guess the pic, yeah, by Jay too. Rana, do you want to explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so actually we draw something in the paint, I guess. And actually usually it's really bad and then people need to guess what that is. And it's hard actually because we don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh? Yeah, we also got another one, assigning animal voices to everyone and make their eyes close and asking to make the sound of the animal and gathering as the heard of each animal. Oh, this is cute, but I do have one question. Yeah, for some animals it's easy to make the sound, but for animals such as pandas, it's really hard to make the sound, right? So maybe Keith Shaw from Dream Space Academy, maybe you can share with us like a few animals that you really do.
Yeah, there are like, we have in Sri Lanka the elephant, monkey. Yeah.
So what does the elephant say? That's cute. Thank you. Yeah, we can do that one. We can. Yeah, Melanie.
I think this is very interesting because I think every country has their own way of doing animal sound. So it's really like, I think like when you do it in a multicultural group, it can be very funny to hear. Like the cat does a very different sound in Cambodia and in France, for example.
Yeah. So what does the cat say in France?
Meow.
What's the sound? Meow. How about Cambodia?
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's cute. Yeah. So in China, I think it's meow too. Yeah. But I think for dogs, it's quite different. So in China, the sound of dog is wong wong, like wong wong. But I know for some that's an international language, I guess. Yeah, cat's language is the international language. Yeah, I share the same concern, Cynthia. I wonder if they can still understand each other. I think most of the time they use body language. No. Welcome to the jungle.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about like Naomi's icebreaker. Guess the person only by their eyes and mouth. So what do? Like you hide your nose?
Oh no! So we prepare slides and we only show person's eyes and mouth. So That's really funny because they don't have. We deleted their nose, so it's like a squish face. Yeah,
Interesting.
quite funny.
Interesting.
This is so funny.
Interesting.
Yeah. So interesting. Yeah.
We have also a energizer, like an icebreaker that we can do like physically, that we like to do at the beginning of a program, is that we ask everyone to be in a big circle, and then we ask everyone to say a statement. And for example, like, I love eating chocolate. And if anyone is the same, they go down. And then you can see like the people who have the same taste as you, basically. And so the people who don't like chocolate, they stand still. And so then everyone have a statement like this, and like it's a way also of bonding and knowing each other a bit more.
Yeah. So how do you do that virtually, Melanie? I mean, it's easier to do it.
It's not really virtual friendly. Maybe you can have like an emoji if it's like some like you, but it's funnier like
or maybe
offline
use
than online.
Use the Zoom function. Give you a virtual heart or raise your hand. So thank you so much for sharing. I think Ikanto says share your mood using emojis. Yes. And also share the meaning of your name. So what's the meaning of your name? I'm curious, Melanie.
My name actually is quite boring. It's just like it means melanos, like, you know, melanin, the pigment you have in your skin to make it dark. So it's like they didn't like, they didn't do it on purpose.
Okay, interesting. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing, and I hope you can use some of them for your upcoming workshops and maybe programs, etc. I really love today's icebreaker, and I hope you like it too. So why don't we move on to the next agenda? So also as usual, we are going to ask everyone to do a quick poll. So just tell us, how do you rate your confidence in curriculum design? So we have 1 minute. Just let us know your answer. How do you rate your confidence? It's okay. I think we have quite a lot of people think they are above average. So I think today we're going to have a very fruitful discussion. We have a fishbowl discussion later today as last time. So if you think you're above average, please do share with others your experience and tools that you are using. So yes, we have 30 seconds left. Definitely need more work. Yeah, there's one people saying that. Okay, I think I will end the poll now. Share results with everyone. Yes, I think seems like we have quite a lot of people who think they are above average. So as I said earlier, so please do share with everyone in the chat box or maybe in our interaction sessions. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So for today's agenda, today's session will be 2 hours as well. And we will be focusing on designing and also delivering a compelling curriculum. So for the first hours, we are going to do a crowdsourcing of tools and systems. So we are going to assign you to different breakout rooms, and you can work as a group. After that, we're hoping that some volunteers can share in the main room. So after the crowdsourcing of tools, we are going to have a Fireside chat with Mehvish from Invest to Innovate, and she's based in Pakistan. So Melanie from Impact Hub Phnom Penh will share additional case study from her own experience. For the second hours, it's the networking and also peer sharing time. So we're going to do a quick reflection on how to build meaningful engagement online. I know that some of you will be organizing a virtual event very soon. So please do share with others and also learn from each other. And at the end of today's session, we're going to do a Troika consulting circles. So I think most of you enjoyed the discussion very much last time. So this time we'll make it longer. So you will have 20 minutes for the Troika consulting sessions. So I hope you will enjoy it. And also at the end of this session, we hope you will have shared and learned what are the elements, what are the tools and delivery methods of a successful incubators. And also we hope that you will get a better understanding of the experience between a good program and a life-changing program for entrepreneurs, which they will remember for a lifetime and also bring some fundamental changes to their enterprises, their businesses too. So yes, so for this session, we will start with the sharing of tool, like program design tool and structure. So Melanie, could you please share your screen and introduce this tool to everyone?
Yes, but before, I would love to hear from any of you actually, like how do you build your program skeleton? Because before talking about like activities and design, what do we do? I think I would love to hear from you, like what are the structure, like how do you get started? Like basically you get a contract, you're like, okay, you have to design a program on, for example, like agriculture incubator. So what do you do? Where do you start? And yeah, I would love to hear from you, and then I can also share some example as well. So who would like to volunteer and share how you do in your country?
Could I go, Melanie?
Yes, sure. Yeah.
So hi, this is Ekanto here.
Yeah. Yes.
So what we exactly do for our incubation programs is first we talk to our incubators who have been selected for the program, try to understand the gap areas where they require the maximum support. So we try to create a matrix of sorts, understanding what are the gap areas in which we could support all the incubators, and try to find the common gap areas, and based on that we specifically design the program. So we do take a good week, 10 days, or at times even a month to design the program after the incubators have come on board. And this has been a standard practice for us for the last 4 to 5 years. And this has really paid off, because it is not a program which we are just imposing on the participants that way. We first try to get and understand what are the problem areas, and accordingly we design the program for them. So that's what we have practiced so far.
This is very interesting. And I wonder, like, how do you advertise about the program then? So you start, like, you can be quite blurred, like, because sometimes it's important to.
There are some very common. There are some common themes which, of course, go around, and we advertise it accordingly. And we also tell people that it's a custom program, wherein you will be getting help where you exactly need. So as I mentioned, there are some common gap areas for which we design the coursework, or rather the sessions, but there would be some exclusive gap areas for each individual participant. For that, we conduct one-on-one mentoring sessions rather than common sessions.
I see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I totally see the value on this, and I think they really appreciate like this tailored session that is exactly what they need at the right time. So yeah, I think it's a really good point. Thank you so much for sharing, Ekanto. Anyone else? Also, maybe like, because maybe you are designing this program with the support of a partner, maybe some of the funding partners would like to be involved also in the design. So is there any of you want to share also some experience about how do you set the right expectation also on both sides, from partner and your side? Anyone? So like Kishan, you wanted to, I saw you unmute yourself. Yeah, you want to share?
Yes,
Yeah.
Melanie, yeah. So, so how we, like we also work with UNDP Sri Lanka as well, in conducting certain incubation program. So recently, like how our incubation program is, so everything like, so there were 11 startups. So each startup is very, very, unique and different. So our approach is very customized. So that like what we follow is, so we have obviously we do design thinking, and design thinking just to understand their customer base and how they are working on that. And so it will be a 3 days very quick sprint workshop, and afterwards we do like detailed work with the business model canvas, and we go like segment by segment, each like how is our value proposition, and if it is a value proposition and their partners, like every component goes like 1 day intensive program. So they like kind of write down, and they go to the community and they do some research, and they come and present their findings and to the other startup team, and they get the feedback from them. It's kind of a very kind of a, not like a 3 day or 4 day workshop. It's almost like a 6-month incubation program. And meanwhile, while they were incubating, after 3 months, they get their seed funding. And while they're like kickstart their startup, we'll ensure that they are kind of releasing their prototype and testing it and getting the feedback from the first set of users. And so this is how like our incubation is so far. And since we follow kind of an interdisciplinary way where we train all startup, let's say an incubator is coming with an idea which is highly tech, we train them in non-tech as well. Let's say from visual storytelling, how they can do a story creation for their startup, telling their value proposition, and this kind of a thing. So we have a very basic structure, but that structure differs and customized to different startups. So this is one of my major goal of joining this Springboard Amplifier program as well, in order to how I can have a kind of a structured curriculum, so that we follow that, and also we add their values as well to this. Yeah, so that's how.
No, I like this, like customization. I think customization is also super important, like depending on the startup you mentor, and it requires some strong emotional intelligence to understand what are the needs, and yeah, experience is the best way to learn like how to design better program. But I think some of the activities you mentioned, let's keep it for the next exercise, because we're going to make a big like directory of all the different activities we can do, and this is really excellent. Thank you for sharing. So Rushao, maybe can you let me share my screen? I want to share additional insight on this. I really, yes, perfect. I really appreciate that you mentioned like more like this design thinking approach of okay, how can we make sure we include the voice of our entrepreneur in our program design? So I think that we can distinguish maybe the old program and the new program. Maybe like the old program, you have a survey from previous cohort, you do a focus group, maybe at the end of the program to make sure you capture all like what they love, what they can do differently. Maybe you can have also maybe an entrepreneur advisory group who can also help also in the selection of the startups, and bring them in the design process. For the new program, usually what we do is that we ask our previous alumni who join a different group, and then we ask them to invite their friend, especially if it's program targeting more like youth empowerment, I would say. So people who are not yet our target, but the friend of our target. So it's going to be like easier to reach them as well. And we try to understand like what are their needs. We test some hypotheses. We try also to understand like what the language they use. We ask them, like we copy exactly what they say. And then like, for example, for the benefit of a program, if they say like, I want to increase my confidence in public speaking, then we're going to use exactly the words in our promotional materials so that it can like really reflect the needs. And then yeah, we ask them like also maybe some other key stakeholders or like some experts to help us design a program. So this is more like design, but now I just want to share with you a structure that we use also with our partner that can help help you like align expectation, because this is also very important when you like work with a partner to have like clear expectation on both sides. So, and this is actually what we use with Roshao to design this program together. So like what is the profile of our target participants? Then like some example for us to have some clear people in mind. What does like this persona would like to sign up for the program? What is our value proposition? So, okay, can you see my screen? Yeah. What's the target profile? What's the organization startup? Then what does this persona would like to sign up for this program? What is our value proposition? Maybe some incentive for completing the program. What success will look like at the end of a program. Like this is really, really important, and especially with partners, like maybe have different definition of success than us. So let's align here. And then like, how do we measure it? And then what are the common challenges this persona face? So this should be like sourced previously from this previous focus group that we have, and we see some emerging trends. So we try to build like around like maybe, I don't know, like 5 or 6 main topic. And then after is like, what are the main like tools or concepts we should cover in like each of the session? And then like, is there any best like guest speakers who could be like helpful for this session? And so we do this for each of the main problems that they are facing. And then I think the other part, like, so now that we have the skeleton, I think it's interesting to build around like how to design something that is interactive and insightful, like the flow of activities, some of the things that we can do. So this is where we're going to see after, like for example, in this session, we do like some breakout room, like it's more about the format, basically what we are saying. So breakout room, sharing sessions, some case study, some Troika consulting group. So this kind of method that can then be also reused, that you are learning through this program to your other program as well. Maybe also some tools, maybe like using Mentimeter, maybe using Zoom, maybe using word cloud. And then like, what are the last thing, like, what do we put in the application form so that we are sure that we capture we select the right people. So this is like, yeah, 13 slides just for you to get started with the design of your program and to set the right expectation between you and your partner. And at the end, you will have, I would say, a clear skeleton of what you want to do. And then you can dive deeper in each session. Okay, so yes, was helpful. So what do you think of this template? Do you think it could be helpful for you as well? We're gonna share also this template with you afterward, but let me drop it here so that you can have it for your reference. Great. Okay, so now I will go back to the slide. So I want to, yes, perfect. So now actually, as should start talking about it. Now we talk about, now we're going to move to like what activities can we do once now we have a framework. What activities can we do to engage our entrepreneurs and to create a really meaningful experience? And so, like, I don't know if you're familiar with this graph, but first time I saw it, I was like, oh, mind blown. This is like, remember all your class at school of like, what are the things you remember and what are the things you actually totally forgot about. So if you do only lecture is only like 5%. You only get 5%. So actually that's why I really encourage you to share, because I don't want you just to listen to us and then like forget everything. So lecture is 5%. Reading, once you ask someone to read something, they're going to get maybe 10%. When you're going to show them a video or make them listen something, they will get maybe 20%. If you demonstrate how to do it, like with your hand, they will get maybe 30%. When you make them like discuss as a group, then they will get 50%. When they like start like practicing by doing, they will get 75%. And finally, when you teach others, you're gonna get 90%. So it's also very interesting to see like, okay, how can we involve the entrepreneurs in also like teaching their peers in like sharing with others what they have learned along the way. And this is kind of like also our approach that we are using with the Springboard Amplifier, because everyone has so much knowledge and we really want you also like to teach others, teach us how we can best like design our program or like the next topic as well. And that we're also inviting you to co-facilitate this session with us. So now for the next session, I would love to hear from you about, we're gonna do a breakout room of 15 minutes where I want you to share some activities of what you do to engage your entrepreneurs, and how do you build also a strong cohort identity. So you can, we're gonna send you by breakout room, and we're gonna give you some slides here. So shall you can start preparing the breakout room, maybe 4 people per room, like no, 3 people per room. And I'm gonna share with you the group, this like this place where you can all write some of the insights you learn from your breakout room. So make sure you put your name of the people in your room here on the top. And yes, maybe we're gonna have 3 or 4 breakout rooms. How many we will have or so?
I think we can have like 4, maybe 4 to 5. Yeah.
5, maybe 5 is
5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah. Yes, perfect. So so yes, so make sure you have also like, yeah, maybe one person in your team is the note keeper, and one, and then the rest can share, but make sure everyone can share.
Yes.
So we're gonna have 15 minutes, as we said, and then we will see you back in the main room in 15 minutes.
Yes, and
So,
also for each group, yeah, there will be make sure you have a note taker. And also we are hoping that after the breakout room, there will be one group who is willing to share all the findings with everyone. So that group will have 5 minutes for the sharing in the main room. So get ready for that too. So I will create the breakout room now.
yes.
Okay.
So be as precise as possible. Be as precise as possible. Okay, like highlight some activities like you did for the icebreaker. Okay. Oh, I got cut immediately.
Sorry, Melanie, time's up.
Welcome back, everyone. So I hope you had a great discussion. I think like this is quite an important topic for today, so maybe we can spend a bit more time, maybe having like one volunteer per group to share some of the insight, because this is really like a great discussion that just happened right now. So maybe can we have like the first, like the group one to start sharing some of the idea of like how to make this program exceptional, and what are your the key activities you are doing that you think will be interesting for the others to know about. Who wants to be presenting from group one?
Ekanto took notes for our group, so maybe he can go, or Ankita, I don't know, one of you can, or Aram, but.
Who would like to go?
Can't hear
Well,
you.
I think Ekanto doesn't have a very good internet. Maybe someone else
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. I'll go ahead. So we had a discussion, and all of us sort of pitched in what were the things that we do generally to build a cohort. And one of the few things that came up, one was, as part of the springboards and sessions, initially there are a lot of sort of technical and personal questions that sort of help build an understanding of what the cohort is like. So these questions are asked to everybody, and that helps us in sort of breaking the ice, as well as building some sort of a connect. And of course, the nothing can beat the actual meetups that happen, where people get to know each other. There are a lot of fun activities that happen physically, so that they get to know each other in person. And the second thing is something called an unconference sessions, in which basically the idea is that the group itself is very everybody there is expert in some or the other thing. So while doing these knowledge of expert session, you don't get in somebody from the outside, you get people from the group itself, from the peer group itself. So that sort of helps build a confidence and trust among the group. And people can reach out to these particular all of their peers for any sort of doubts or problems that they have, and they resolve it within the group itself. And of course, having a diverse cohort from across the country, so that people can learn from each other, share best practices, things like fireside chats. And what we realize is that alumni becomes a very, very strong resource to tap into whenever required. So getting the alumni back for knowledge sessions, and in fact becoming mentors to the current cohort. And one thing that Ekanto told us that does happen in Ashoka University is that what they do is they form these alumni groups. Let's say maybe there's a group of alumni sorry, I think I got that wrong. In terms of the current cohort itself forms a group, and they sort of go ahead and pitch in front of the investor. So that the investor also has some sort of a confidence and trust that this is coming from a particular incubators, and these people can just learn from each other while they're presenting to all of these investors. And the last few things are crowdsourcing a lot of ideas, and office hours are very helpful, because they sort of give a platform for the cohort to sort of talk about their issues, ask for a specific requirements, do some sort of a need analysis. So yeah, these are the things that we had discussed. In case I missed out anything, please feel free to add, Nisha or Aram, Ekanto. Thanks.
No, I guess you covered it.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Iram. Please go ahead.
Yes. So yes, about the alumni. So we also at Pine have when our incubatees or startups, after a certain time and when they go through their pitch, and when they qualify for funding or some sort of a financial investments, we bring them on board as our mentors. So we have a program that is called Meet the Mentors. So usually what we do is we handpick some of our startups who actually become a part and lead the teams with small groups of startups in every cohort that we start. So it actually helps build their confidence when they're doing the pitch deck as well. So we do practice this a lot of time in our activities during our cohorts.
Great, thank you so much for sharing, Arun and Ankita. Great, thank you. These are very good ideas, and yeah, I really like also the in-conference session that we were just discussing about. Like when you teach others, this is where you learn the most. So this is very empowering also for entrepreneurs. Really great, and the alumni, bringing them back. Like usually they are very exciting, and we're gonna talk more about alumni engagement next week. So I think it's a good point that you start mentioning it here. Great. So should we go to group 2? So who would like to share from our group? I added a few things at the end, but we can start like share. Someone from the group can start sharing, and I can complete after. Who want to share? Cynthia, or maybe who was in the group? Now Naomi, would you like to share?
Okay. So in our group, we find that engaging participants are quite challenging. So we compile a few activities that we can do. First, we have speakers that we try to ask the speakers to spark more discussions between participants, and we use case-based method. And then we try to do peer learning, where each participant would learn with their friends, and we have reflection groups. Melanie shared about her offline methods, where she used a signature song and do talent night, which are very interesting. And yeah, we try to do mini hacks. Maybe Raina or Cynthia would like to complete this.
Besides that, I think we also create this close-knit relationships with our entrepreneurs up front. So we have PIC for each of the entrepreneurs that discuss or ask questions to our entrepreneurs on a daily basis. So we know their problems, we get close to them, so that next time they can tell us if they have any problems and things like that. So we increase our engagement with them at the same time. Maybe I can add that.
Right. And I want to compliment what you just said right now, because I think, yeah, when I can see a big difference, for example, like a lot of our entrepreneurs at Impact Hub tell us like, we really like being part of Impact Hub. And one of the reasons is they feel that everyone in our team care for them. So it's like really building this very strong relationship, but very genuine one, like from everyone in our team. So it's not just like the entrepreneur in residence or the program manager who know them well. We actually engage also our finance director to be our finance mentor. We have a managing director who become our sales mentor. We have our communication team who are like helping them in the communication materials. So we have our whole team actually involved in supporting the mentee, and they are so grateful for the whole dedication of the whole team. Actually, they feel like very special and very cared. And another thing is that I think it's really important to have like diagnostic tool, like to understand deeply the problem they are solving. Because sometimes when you ask an entrepreneur, like, okay, what's your problems? They're gonna say like, yeah, I don't have any sales. But then you're gonna dive deeper and you understand like they have a very big like pricing problem, like the product is not ready, like they have like the production is not properly done or something like this. So it's really important to start like having like a diagnostic of like what are the root causes of a problem, so that you can help them like better on this. We realize also when you do a visit directly to their place, like this is also so good. So if you can budget this in your program design, like actually right now I currently visiting like 2 of my entrepreneurs, and oh my god, like it changed everything. Like when you visit directly to their working place, like the workshop, and like you see the problem, you're like, oh, actually there is a much bigger problem. Like the way you talk to your team is not properly done, and you're gonna have, that's why your team is not yet engaged. So it's like it's really important also to go on the field and see by yourself. And then also like video featuring the entrepreneurs, this can be also a great tool for you, so that you can maybe engage some video makers to do some feature video about the entrepreneurs. It increases your program like outreach, and at the same time they are very grateful because they have a very good like video featuring what they do that they can reuse for their promotional materials. So this can be a great way, or you teach them how to do video, so it can be more sustainable as well in the future. Okay, so now I will pass it to group 3. So who would like to share? Group 3.
I was in
So
group 3. Maybe Alwin.
Alwin, yeah.
So hi, morning everyone. So just for group 3, I think we were talking about how do we engage the startup. So in the cohort, so what we've done is for Idea Space, for our flagship program, we try to do what we call the talk space. It's a weekly startup or a bi-monthly startup showcasing, wherein we ask the founders to talk about why they started the startup, what are the challenges, and then we categorize it on a theme for every session. So it can be a theme about startups. We group the startups and categorize them. It can be it can be on SDGs, creating social impact. So we group the startups creating on that category to talk about why are they solving the problem, what is it, made them do it. Or we try to also feature women-led startups. So we ask the women founders to talk about their challenges, how it is, how they are, coming up with, or how they are empowering also their women team members, since as we all know, most of the startup founders are men. So that way, we try to get to know the startups a little more on a personal level. It also makes their batchmates or their, the cohort get to know them on a personal level. So that we try that to help promote camaraderie among the team. And then maybe, sharing of experiences. It's also a way for the founders to learn from each other, get powerful or insightful views, feedback from fellow founders. So that way we try to balance it in a way that it's not all learning sessions, that's all about business model canvas, design thinking, right? So this one, they also talk about themselves, their challenges, how they can empower each other, right, as a cohort. So yeah, that's what we do.
So great, thank you so much for sharing, Irene. And do we have a group 4? Not sure. No, we didn't. Okay.
I think we had group 4, but yeah,
They didn't
I
write?
think they didn't write. They're keeping it as secret. Yeah, I don't know.
Who was in the group 4? I see like Kanika was in group 4. Maybe you can. Maybe you didn't write yet. who was in group 4?
Yes, sorry. So we weren't able to write down things on the slide just yet. But we did discuss a few methods of engagement. I suppose there were two different types generally. One was the kind where within the sort of structured program, within the kind of like different modules that you have certain activities and tasks from within the scope of those modules. Suppose like within design thinking or within strategy and business modeling. So having different sort of like group tasks within that really helps them sort of work together and work out their differences as well. Find different sort of how do you say perspectives on the same sort of issues. Like as an example, there was a business modeling sort of activity where you work on the business model canvas using a case study of a different startup from the country. And like small tasks like that, which help basically them work together as groups as well. And aside from that, there was also the things outside the scope of this sort of like structured sort of program, where you have all of your startups essentially discuss different sorts of issues within your country. Like suppose within India, you have different kinds of like what kinds of social issues are faced and everything, and what sort of are the causes of these problems. This in itself can cause a bit of a conflict as well, but I think that one big advantage of that as well is that you can work on resolving those conflicts as well, and that in itself sort of helps build the sort of community that you're hoping to build as well. And I believe there was one more example that Teresa gave that I don't think I'll be able to explain very well, but if she'd like to, sort of explain.
Thanks, Amina. I think that was mostly it. We really talked about peer learning, and Kanika was sharing about the importance of an open forum and a safe space in these in our programs, and the ability for our diverse group of cohorts to share their own perspectives given their experiences and their backgrounds and things like that. But that's mostly what our group 4 discussed. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, I just would like to add here. Sorry, I was like stepped out for a bit. So yeah, like one thing that we all noticed was that even if the medium of engagement is different, what we need to do is we need to create a space where people can share their vulnerabilities, so that if people are able to share their vulnerabilities, then they are able to actually become bonded with each other on a personal level. And if that happens, then people actually make that cohort identity. So like whatever medium we use is good enough, and I think a lot of people have given that medium. But that space, how that the mood of the space should be, was something that we all discussed. It should be a safe space where you are able to do and say things, and nobody judges you. That thing, I think. Yep.
This is excellent. Thank you so much for sharing this. And I totally agree. And I think it's perfect transition with what Dinlong just wrote. Maybe do you want to share a bit more, Dinlong? I saw you wrote it.
Hello, I'm Dinlong.
Linka. Okay.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so I guess it's so basically in our in Youth Collab Thailand, there's like these reflection cards, and then we categorize 4 different type of program participants. So they are either innovators, so basically they want to more focusing on innovation rather than jumping into business model, and they are entrepreneurs, and they are young change makers, so they are more focusing maybe on advocacy, on skills development. And then there's another one is more at the ecosystem level. So it's more like we categorize them into this group, and then we customize different questions to understand what drives them to do why they do what they do, and what kind of fundamental underlying challenges, needs, and support that they are looking for. So in a way that when we're designing the program through this kind of interactive conversations, we hope to get very, very authentic inputs when we are designing the program. And I guess that also in a way, it's bringing the meaningful engagement into the program design. So it's less about, you know, what we think that is helpful for the target audiences, but it's really coming from their reflections as well. And also in a way that we hope this kind of deep conversation help us to reflect whether or not our previous program really answered to their needs. So yeah, just a bit sharing here and some say hi to everyone.
No, thank you. This is so great. And this, can you hear me well? Yeah, this is definitely approved by also us in Cambodia. We use this Youth Collab card, and to be honest, they are so magical. Like, they are so great, and so yeah, so great. So I wonder, so what's the next step, Lenka? Should we, if they are interested in like using it, is there a way we can have access to it? I'm going to change my internet.
Linka said she will share. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry, just give me some time to look for the link. I'll just share in the chat.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. Great. Thank you. So I will pass it back. Thank you everyone for sharing all your great tools. We will like share with you again like this document after, but you can go back to it and hopefully like apply some of the methods in your local incubator. So now let's hear a bit more insight from Shao. We're gonna share insight.
Thank you so much, Melanie, and everyone for sharing. I've learned so much from all of you. So all the resources and PPT will be uploaded to our online learning management system, and we will share with you the link after this session. So for the next agenda, so let's hear from Mehvish from Invest to Innovate. Unfortunately, she's traveling today, so she has very kindly to agree to do a pre-recording session with us. And at the same time, she said she's very willing to hear from you. What is your feedback and what do you think about her sharing? So if you're interested in connecting with her, so please do let us know so we can write an email to connect both of you. So maybe I will start sharing the video now. Give me 1 minute. It's my first time sharing the video, so let me know if it works. Can you see my screen now? Yes?
Yeah, it's dark, but make sure you share with us sound. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, Mehvish. Nice to meet you. It's our great honor to welcome you. So Mehvish is from I2I Pakistan. And so just to get started, I would love you to just introduce yourself and tell us more about I2I Pakistan.
Of course. Hi, Melanie. It's so great to meet you as well. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure and an honor. Yeah, Invest to Innovate. We've been around now in the Pakistani ecosystem for about 10 years. And now we've also expanded our work to the region as well. So we work not only in Pakistan, but we worked in Southeast Asia as well, and MENA. So what made us really special as a ecosystem builder, which is what we like to call ourselves, a startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem builder, is our flagship accelerator program, which has been quite popular in the country for some time. And I'll just get into the details of why that model was so successful in Pakistan, especially. But also we have really sort of carved our name and through our research work, which has been in service to tracking all the activity in the Pakistani startup ecosystem. And one of our flagship products from our research and insights department is the deal flow tracker, where we have been tracking all the investments, so doing investment mapping in Pakistan for the past 5 years. So before Pakistan became a very hot space, we had been tracking deals, right? So now we have all this data that wasn't there before, or honestly that others had not tracked, right? Because Pakistan has been seeing like this rapid growth in the space for the past 2 years. In fact, ironically, during COVID. So yeah, so that's a little bit about what we do. Through the flagship accelerator program that we had, we learned a lot and have incorporated that into programs now. So we do different programs across the region. We have done capacity building programs on fundraising and for women entrepreneurs in MENA as well as in Southeast Asia. So that's a little bit about our work and our scope right now.
Great, thank you. And so you mentioned about this flagship program, like this accelerator program. So as today we are talking about like how to build a compelling curriculum, like a strong cohort, like how can we, how do you do to create this kind of like life-changing experience also for the founders through your program?
Yeah, so I think so what made our accelerator special is that it was, and I'm saying the word was because of COVID, it hasn't happened in that way, is that it was primarily a traveling accelerator. So in Pakistan, one of the things that I think our entrepreneurs struggled with generally, and it is mostly a question of access, is networks. So networking is a skill that generally a lot of the entrepreneurs who would be coming out and starting businesses, their access to networks would be very, very limited. And so usually their context was also limited. The context in which they would be building their products would be limited. And so our founder, Kusum, very quickly realized that in order for the entrepreneurs and the founders to be set up for success, it was really important that they have access to networks who will not only just invest in them, but will be that mentor capital that is really, really important for every founder's success, right? So what we ended up doing was that as part of the design, the whole accelerator was sort of spread out over weekends specifically. So I think one of the things that entrepreneurs or founders get a little bit frustrated with is when they're asked to be a part of a program and physically be in a certain sort of a facility or be engaged on a very, very regular basis during the week in that program, right? Because they're entrepreneurs, it's not the best use of their time. So we never had that as a requirement. We just asked them to dedicate some of their weekends to us, right? And those weekends were actually in different cities. So one weekend would be in Islamabad, weekend would be in Karachi, one weekend would be in Lahore. These are the three major cities of Pakistan. And so they would rotate every weekend through these locations and be tapping into all the different experts, industry experts, mentors, and investors in those different cities. So that really would open up their horizon and their vision and how they looked at their companies, how they were troubleshooting, how they were planning for it. That was very, very important. And I think the most transformative session actually is the one that we do right in the beginning. So as a traveling accelerator, the first weekend that the founders have is at a hill station or so somewhere in the mountains, which is kind of scenic. And the idea is for the founders, before they start their journey of like building out the business and growing it with us, whether it's just for the purpose of scaling or it's because they want to raise funds for scaling or whatever it may be, is for them to really hone into why is it that what they're doing matters to them, and to be very clear about the purpose behind and be very clear about the understanding of the problem that they're trying to solve for. And so that first weekend, which is usually in a hill station, in a place where you can relax, the founders really introspect through different exercises as to who they are, what's important to them, and why what they're doing matters, and the impact that they're trying to create through that. And this doesn't have anything to do with the fact that we are just working with impact, quote unquote impact companies or startups. It has more to do with the fact that no matter what the founder is building, they're building something with a purpose and they're trying to solve a pain point. So the impact of them providing a solution that will be well received and can be scaled needs to be understood by them at a very personal level, and they really have to believe in it, right, in order to make others believe in it. So that's really the idea behind the traveling model.
Wow. And so I assume also like this is also a time where they can build very strong connection between the cohort themselves, right? Like, do you see some like bonding? Like,
yes, a lot of bonding. Exactly. That's the idea, for them to bond with themselves, to bond with others who are other entrepreneurs who are like them on very similar journeys, and then to also bond with people who have been through similar journeys already, who they can learn from.
so you have also some guest speakers or like alumni maybe like coming in?
Yeah, we have a whole bench of mentors and investors who we curate for them per city. So every city that they go to, they engage with the specific industry specialists or investors, and we have these sessions called mock boards. So they sit down and they walk through their startup, or they walk through some of the main challenges that they're facing with a particular mentor who gives them feedback on whatever it is that they're trying to solve for.
Hey, great. Thank you so much for sharing this. And yeah, and like I like, so you were saying like this kind of hill station. So like do you have like some kind of mindfulness session, maybe like meditation session, or like more focusing on themselves, like this is what you do?
Sometimes, but that's not the main part of it. Most of it is a lot of like self-reflection exercises. So a lot of like reflective work and journaling and things like that, and opening up and talking about, you know, some of the moments that were really impactful in their own lives. So what transformed and impacted, what were the moments in their lives that transformed the direction their own life was taking in. We do those kinds of exercises, like sharing like what is the vision of their company, like what is it that they're striving for, things like that. That's what we've been working on. It's really unfortunate though, due to COVID, we were not able to actually work on this, continue this model, the traveling model, for the past 2 years. However, besides, so in parallel to COVID, it's interesting, like I mentioned earlier, to see that the activity and the entire landscape of the Pakistani startup ecosystem has transformed a lot, with like, we are seeing the kind of investments that we've never really seen before. Just the past year, we raised, you know, close to over $400 million, which in Pakistan is a big deal. That was like, you know, before COVID, like we had not seen that kind of investment at all. So what we've done and learned in the past 2 years is that now we're hoping to relaunch the Traveling Accelerator again in the latter part of the year. But the model where we are doing a lot of knowledge transference and a lot of like sort of a lot of the work with the entrepreneur on building out the business, we are making it more bespoke, because that's what the requirement and the need of the hour is, that it needs to be more bespoke. And so we've moved towards a one-on-one sort of a coaching model that we feel is a lot more high impact than having like a cluster or cohort model where it's like more classroom style and everyone is sitting in a room and or sitting in a webinar and receiving the same information. What we've done is, like, through our current We Raise program, we've curated a whole library of fundraising 101, and like what are the essential tools and like what are the foundations that each entrepreneur should be well versed in before they start the fundraising journey. So we encourage them to access content there. And then when they become part of the program, we do like a deep diagnostic of what is each entrepreneur's or each founder's particular need that needs to be catered to. And then we design a roadmap for them according to that. Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy you mentioned this diagnostic tool, because like this is also what we realize, like sometimes when you ask an entrepreneur like what's your pain points or like what's your gaps are, like they are not able to tell you what they are because they don't know what they don't know yet. So I think it's really important
Yeah.
to have this kind of tools to actually like, yeah, make them like, this is what a well-functioning business should have. Like, what do you have, what you
Yeah.
don't have? And so, yeah, I think it's such a good point. Great. And so, so now, like, yeah, moving forward, like, so what are your kind of like lesson learned that you want to continue to do, like just as a wrap up, like, and you also advice maybe for other incubators in the region in terms of like designing a meaningful program for entrepreneurs?
I think like because we are working with founders and entrepreneurs who are you know, who are very agile and who innovate and grow quite rapidly, the accelerator and incubator also has to operate from a very entrepreneurial mindset, which means we have to be willing to constantly be learning and adapting to the needs of the founders and the direction and the development of the ecosystem where we're operating in. And I think that's what has kept us in the position of a market leader in our ecosystem, is that we have the ability to learn from each program or accelerator session that we deliver. We immediately take our learnings, we assess, we see what the impact was, we see how we can be better, and we incorporate it into the design through which we are trying to service the entrepreneur and the founders. I think one of the things that a lot of accelerators and incubators, one of the mistakes they make is that they are not able to adapt as fast as the changes that entrepreneurs, founders, and the ecosystem are facing, because they grow and scale very rapidly, especially startup founders. They're not able to keep up with that pace, and therefore the impact that they have for the founders is not what one would ideally like to see. So being able to adapt with that agility and that speed is really, really important in order for designing and implementing a successful incubation or accelerator program.
Great. Thank you so much for your work, Mehvish. And like, I think it was very practical, and I think it's really also like inspire us to go beyond our own walls. And like, I think like whenever any journey is like an experiential learning, and I think it's so important. This is what, when people go out of like a traditional working environment, like their mind is more open, and they are more like, there is more like also maybe serendipitous connection that happen on the way, like sitting near someone on the bus, and then you're like, oh, tell me about your life. And I think like this is really important. Like really, really, I love all of this. And also like what you mentioned also about this powerful question, like it's not so many maybe opportunity in their life where they were asked these questions. So having to reflect on this is really also like super important. So thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And then yeah, like we look forward to share all your knowledge with the
Please
other
keep
people.
in touch.
Yes. Okay, so should we have a clap for Mehvish? Did you enjoy this sharing? Yes. Great. Yeah, like this is so fascinating. The first time, imagine like going into the mountains to have like very powerful connection experience with the other founders. I think this is such a great approach. Do you have any like questions or comments after seeing this video? Does this resonate to you? Is anyone in this group like doing also like this kind of like trip, like experiential learning approach? Maybe not yet. Okay. So
yeah, I think this traveling model is quite unique. So maybe I can share one example. So in China, there's a youth event called 2050. So basically, it's a camping event. So all of the participants will go to a camping area by next to a river. And also one thing that this program is very unique is that the organizer do not design any agenda. So all the agenda were designed by the participants. So which means when you register for this event, you have to submit what you are going to organize for this program. And after that, people will all go to the camping area for, I think, 2 days plus 1 night. So, and also they do like the activities they propose. So I think this program is really, really unique. I'm looking forward to, to participate this year, because I think when you put people in a physical space together, it really creates some, chemistry and also some connection on a personal level. And sometimes that really matters a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, totally agree. And I would like to share an additional like case study that we also do in Cambodia, more like also like kind of experiential learning again that you could replicate. So basically it's a field trip for the entrepreneurs. So we go for 3 days. So this is with entrepreneurs that are more like a mature stage, I would say like early operational stage. And so what we do is we go on this trip on a community. We go with like in a community where maybe it's the community where one of the entrepreneurs is based, or maybe is with one of our partner organization. And the goal is to on the practice design thinking, basically like practice like asking questions, practice like understanding better about the problems. And the way we design this session is first they have to scout like what are the main emerging problems from this area. So it can be like lack of proper waste management system, lack of like community building feeling, or lack of like degrees of handicraft made in this village that they don't see any product. So they try to understand what is emerging, and then the next moment after they're gonna form groups by interest, and then they're gonna go and run more like in-depth interview. And then what we do is like is really immersive learning. So we're gonna stay and we're gonna sleep and eat at the house of the people, of the villagers, and we can capture additional stories and we can see better like how they live. And then after this, we come back, we do a kind of like a SWOT analysis of the element of the village on the specific topic. And then they have to come up with some ideas on like how to leverage the strengths and how to, leverage the opportunities of each vision to create a product. And then they have to do a mini prototyping exercise. So now we are building a greenhouse. And then they go back and they also present to the villagers also to get some insight about their solution. It's a new solution, or it can be also one of the existing solution, depends on like the stage of the entrepreneurs. And then on the evening, we do this very powerful sharing session. Like, for example, like what you were just mentioning as well. I think I don't know, maybe Ankita was mentioning like this powerful question and what Linka was sharing as well. So this is the time like to be vulnerable and to share who they are, like what they struggle, what their fears are, and it's sometimes very emotional evening. And then maybe like this was incredible. We were welcomed by an indigenous community in the north of Cambodia, and we had like an amazing show. And, like we were dancing with them. It was so beautiful, so unexpected. We just asked them to prepare something, but we didn't know what's gonna be. So yeah, it was really wonderful, and it really created like strong bond between everyone. And finally, on the next day, we ask them to write a manifesto. So it's like, what is the future you want to see in your industry? So we ask them like in the next 30 years from now,
or like not 30 years, like 10 years from now, what does, for example, the future of agriculture will look like in terms of like education, in terms of like branding of product, in terms of like access to market. So tell us what is the future you want to see. And so then we capture like all these sentences, and then in the final demo day pitch, we share this vision of like what is the future they want to see. And it can be also something that policymaker can use, or like something like that. Yeah, it's kind of like the voice of entrepreneurs shared to the different stakeholders during the demo day. And yeah, so this is like the agenda template, so you can like use it for your own, if you want to replicate this kind of approach of like more like the design thinking exercise of a weekend that is also very strong team bonding activities. And so yes, so that's it for this exercise. I don't know if it's helpful, but I hope it can be helpful. Like, as I said, like this is like such a, we're gonna remember this experience. And maybe you can also invite your alumni from previous cohort to come and share also during this weekend. Great, awesome. And just I want to check with Linka, because I don't know if you try to download the card that she shared, but there is a bit more technical. So if Linka, you want to share a bit more?
Yeah. So yeah, I think many of you already in the link. I can see there are a lot of you trying to access this. So basically, I think the best way is for you to open the manuals. And I know this one might be a bit hard to open, but this one is working. So how do you use it? So basically, because this is a view only, you can't actually edit it. What you need to do is to download it. The file is a little bit big, so I will just demonstrate part of it. So basically, as you can see, you know, to start a conversation for everyone together, what you need to do virtually is to flip the card, right? But we can't really flip the card online, so you just need to delete the cover card, and then you can see the question here, or you can just move it, and then you can see the questions underneath. And this is English and Thai version. And then if you are interested to translate it into your local language, please do let us know. It's also a respect to the creator of this card. We just need to let them know, but they're very, very welcoming and encouraging if you want to translate it into your local language. So similar as this, either you just delete the cover page. So basically the way that you do it is that, because there are different numbers of the card, right? So you can just say a number. Let's say you say 20, and then, oh, actually I don't have 20. Let's say you say 1, and then you come to 1, and then you remove the cover card. And so as a change maker, if I have to tell grandma about my project, I will tell her that. So what is my project about? So yeah, and then you cover the card again. So with a group of people, just choose a number and then flip the card by deleting the cover page, and then check the questions. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Linka. Really recommend all of you to check this card, because so many powerful, well-designed questions. So it's going to be very helpful for all of you. Thank you so much. So moving on to our next agenda.
Can I just add a few points on the reflection card? So yeah, on the localization. So if any of you are interested in translating and localizing the reflection card, so please do let me know. So our country office and our youth focal point can help you with that. So yes, maybe let's move on to the next agenda. So we've shared a lot on the methodologies and also the design of the program. So maybe it's time to talk about how to deliver the program, especially during this special time. COVID is still impacting a lot of countries and cities. So how to make a training curriculum engaging if it's done virtually? So so maybe you can share your experiences, stories, what has worked for you and what has not. And maybe you can also share with us some resources that you are using, maybe some virtual meeting platform, and what are some of the virtual meeting platform and tools that you're using. So maybe given that we are running out of time, let's do it in a shortcut session. So please do share with everyone the tools that you're using when you're delivering a virtual training program. Okay, so maybe I will create the room. Melanie, could you please help me to copy and paste the question into the chat box? Thank you. So I will create a breakout room.
We're gonna do a last breakout room for you, so you can. We're gonna do like, so remember Troika is 3 people, 1 person share a challenge, and then the others like share some insight. So if this question is something that is really like still like big burden for you, you can share about this question, but you can also feel free to share about other topic as we are like a bit short on time. So if there is any burning question you want to get it answered from the other people, like please feel free to share it as well. So yeah, the person who want to have it answered can go first. So when you're ready, we can do a breakout room of 3 people and get started. So 3 minutes to share a bit the problem, 2 minutes to give some clarification answer, and then maybe we don't have 20 minutes, so let's do.
So maybe let's do 15 minutes.
15 minutes, yeah, 15
okay.
minutes breakout rooms to share with each other. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I will create the breakout room. Get ready for that.
So it can be ever this question I put on the chat or any other question. Okay.
I just want to make sure that people get to meet different people. Okay.
Perfect. See you in 15 minutes. Welcome back.
Why I'm laughing, Melanie?
Because every time it's like the breakout room is closing in 60 seconds, and then 5 seconds later, poof, closed already.
Oh, I didn't press anything. I think it did automatically. I don't know why.
Yes.
I was laughing because we were sharing how to increase the engagement rate of online workshops, and Kishore was saying, ask participants to turn on the camera.
Yes, so everyone to turn on the camera here. Yes, let's be the change we want to see in the world.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so just to finish, a last question. I would love to hear from you about where is maybe your go-to place where you find some like great facilitation techniques, like where you learn like new facilitation methods. Is there like a website or somewhere that you feel like, oh my God, you should check it out? Because this is going to be also like great resources for all of us to dive deeper into it. Okay, so the toolbox from Hyper Island, from Delong, thank you for sharing. Maybe Rochelle, you can stop sharing. I'm going to go in the website. So there is also like Session Lab. I don't know if you know about this way. Session Lab, they have a lot of like facilitation techniques here, and the people like vote for the best ones. Really recommend you to check it out. Like something I spend my afternoon like checking all of it. So nice. Then we have Hyper Island. Also, oh wow, okay, we just develop these simple lists of digital tools. Awesome. This is great. Thank you so much, Tindon, for sharing. Okay. Hopefully, this is like all the tools. Let me share my screen. So all the tools for the social entrepreneurs that they can use to capture data, maybe. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. for sharing this, and Hyper Island as well. Let me just go on the chat. Hyper Island Toolbox has a lot of tools also, like with Energizer, list of leadership, facilitation action. So check it out. It's also written like how many people can learn, can be involved in this kind of workshop. So thank you so much. Great. And just like, let's do a final wrap up with like a last survey to see how impactful was this session on you. So maybe Rochelle, you can share the poll.
Sure. Before the survey, I just want to ask: is there anyone who's good at using this Gather Town? Because I want to organize a session for everyone on this tool, but I'm still learning. But so if there's any one of you who is an expert on this, please do shoot me an email, and I would love to host an online session with you using this tool. And yes, let's do the quick poll, and then we can, I just launched the poll. Yes. We have 2 questions. Yeah, so please help us with this mini survey so we can know which tool did I mention. It's called Gather Town. I post the link in the chat box. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm still learning this tool. So if you are an expert, please do help me with this. Thank you so much, everyone, for filling out the survey. We got 10 responses now. Yes, okay, thank you so much. I will share the results. Thank you. It seems like all of you have learned quite a lot, few things. Thank you so much. And also for the next session, I will give a quick preview of that. So the next session will be next Thursday, and it will be organized by our participants from National Incubation Lahore. So Zara and Huran from National Incubation Center Lahore will be sharing their insights on alumni engagement. So I think we cover some of these elements during this session, but for next session, we will dive deeper into this topic. And apart from that, for next session, we will also have Aggie from Youth Collab. She will also share how Youth Collab engages with alumni on a daily basis. So thank you so much again, everyone, for joining. Thank you. And I hope to see you again next Thursday.
And I just want to add another thing for the person who say that's still not so confident. You can also reach out to us directly, and we can have like more insight to share with you if you need more support. And also I really also encourage you to go back to all the resources we shared today. Like, this is kind of like a lot of information in only 2 hours. It's like such a very important topic when you run an incubator. So hope that at least we give you like a starting point for you to do more research about all of these tools and to design your own like meaningful curriculum. So much again for today. Really appreciate.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
See you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye. Take
Bye-bye.
care, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you, Dilong.